As BTS's debut began shaping up, the trainees at Big Hit Entertainment were divided into two groups. One was the high potential group of trainees who seemed ready for debut, and the other group was made up of trainees whose debut wasn't yet confirmed. RM, Suga, and J-Hope were in the first group. I thought, wow, I want to be there too, because I come here because of Rap Monster. Jungkook was famously brought on by Big Hit Entertainment in 2011 at one of the auditions for Superstar K3, a TV audition program on Mnet. But the story of how a Busan middle schooler named Jungkook came to the Jungkook building in Seoul is a little bit more complicated than that. Jungkook had already received business cards from 7 different entertainment companies during Superstar K3 auditions. None of them really told me why they wanted to sign me. I remember one of the companies wanted me to come to a hotel room near Superstar K3 audition site for an audition. They wanted to get a video of me singing. The first reason Big Hit managed to beat the odds and secure Jungkook was, oddly enough, MBC's star audition The Great Birth, a direct competitor to Superstar K. On that show, Bang Si-hook was featured as a mentor for the auditioning hopefuls. Jungkook says, Bang Si-hook was famous, according to my dad, and he suggested I try going into his company. Just as RM used the internet to learn about rap artists, Jungkook searched the internet for more information on Big Hit Entertainment and learned of the rapper trainees there who were preparing for their debut, including RM, whose rap videos were available on YouTube. Jungkook says, Hyung's rap was great and his English was so impressive. I said, this is where I'll go. But when he auditioned for Superstar K3, Jungkook wasn't sure he wanted to be a singer necessarily. Sports, art, music. I was pretty good at arts and sports, which made me think, maybe this is where my aptitude is. So, as I was wondering whether to do sports or art, I wondered why not try at becoming a singer. That was a job a lot of people would appreciate, so I auditioned. It wasn't exactly a joke, but I wasn't worried about worrying myself going, what if I fail, either. Meeting Rap Monster, whom Jungkook had gotten to know through an internet search, as well as a host of other rappers at the dorm he eventually entered, was like seeing a new world open before him. On his first day there in June 2011, it was like getting several older brothers at once. Jungkook remembers J-Hope would come back to the dorm really late and take out a meal from the fridge and eat it, while going, do you want some to me? And the Hyungs would take their new little brother everywhere. Jungkook laughs as he remembers, not long after I entered the dorms, one of the Hyungs played a prank on me. He claimed anyone who moved in had to buy everyone bingsu. And so I did, and we all ate it together. The 3 Hyungs who had gone to auditions to achieve their dreams. The little brother who went to the audition program and became a trainee after being inspired by such Hyungs. This slight generational difference foreshadowed that the world was about to change not only for Jungkook, but the rapper trainees as well. This season 2, as referenced by J-Hope, was a prelude to Idol season. To the future members of BTS, idols, along with the hip-hop and their bond with each other, became another cornerstone of their identity. V also had a less than smooth journey from his hometown of Daegu to the Cheonguk building in fall of 2011. We were ripped off by the cab driver. My dad and I got on and paid 38,000 won to go from the bus terminal to Sinsa station. I remember clearly that we passed 3 tunnels. I still remember what the cabbie says we get off. Careful. Lots of people try to force customers into premium taxis to rip you off. From the moment V first entered the dorm was like arriving at a new and mysterious world. V remembers Jungkook was at a lesson, so he wasn't home, and J-Hope, RM, and Suga were there. V didn't think his expectations from before he arrived in Seoul would change. He says, I figured I would not be in the same team as them. The 3 of them love music and do hip-hop. And I guess I'm just someone who's only living here with them. V, a high school fresher, had become a trainee at Big Hit only 6 months after he had begun taking dance classes. Ever since he had sung on stage at his elementary talent show, he had wanted to become a performer, and he had played the saxophone since his first year in middle school, with the goal of entering an arts high school. But K-pop dance was something he learned in a hagwon over a period of 6 months. And this is why he had no intention of auditioning when the A&R team at Big Hit had come down to Daegu with his dance hagwon to find new trainees. Just the fact that an entertainment company would come down to Seoul was a novelty to me, so I went to just watch. They had auditioned only the kids who had gone to the hagwon for 2-3 years, and at the end, one of the A&R people pointed at me and said, "Can we see that kid dance too?" And then I got in. From the time V entered the dorm, RM, Suga, and J-Hope were already working at a recording studio provided by Big Hit Entertainment. The three were already posting songs on the BTS blog before their debut, having built up enough expertise in rap, composing, and dance to hold long discussions about the subjects. Suga in particular was desperate to debut. Father used to hate people music. But once I passed my audition and began showing up on posters, he would brag about me a lot, which made me think I better debut soon. Even if I'd failed to make a mark, I wanted to have debuted. In contrast, Jungkook and V only began training in vocals and dance in earnest when they joined the dorm in 2011. To V, the duo of RM, Suga, and J-Hope were already artists. V recalls the three Hyungs were so good at music, so dedicated to their work, and they seemed like experts to me. I was just happy to be a trainee at their side. Having just started as a trainee, the prospect of debut seemed very far away to V. But just 6 months later, when Jimin came up from Busan in May 2012, the others, including V, struck him as being ready to debut immediately. Jimin recalls, "I'm very shy and I was nervous. I was trembling. I came to the dorm and there were so many shoes in the foyer. The shoes overflowed into the apartment. But even that was really cool. The Hyungs came out and they were trainees but already looked like celebrities to me. RM in particular looked exactly like a celebrity should. And V was such a classic idol, really handsome and wearing a red snapback cap." The older boys did hip hop, and the boy who was the same age and looked as good as any idol. The trainees, as seen through Jimin's eyes, were already entering their idol season. Rappers who lived and died by hip hop, the dancer who was influenced by them to write his own rap lyrics, the vocalist who was just learning to dance, and the youngest who showed potential in both song and dance. Jimin found it difficult to imagine such disparate talents coming together as one team. I was convinced the Hyungs would debut first as a hip-hop group. But Jimin's arrival was a preview of how planning for their group would go in a different direction. If they were to become an idol group together, Jimin would join J-Hope as one of the main dancers, but bring a completely different sort of flair to the team. Before he came to Seoul, Jimin had already been spending his teenage years in dance. We had an after-school breakdance club, and I remember a bunch of boys just got together and said, "Hey, you want to try this?" Which became, "Should I really?" We gathered to practice on Saturdays when we didn't have school, and then did an actual performance. That's when I felt it, the thrill. I completely fell for dance. Jimin's main criteria for choosing a high school that was also a place I can learn dance, and hoping to be acquainted with a larger variety of dance, he specialized in contemporary dance at Busan High School of Arts. To his parents, he explained his goals of learning dance in Busan, auditioning, and moving to Seoul. He remembers his first impressions of the capital. I thought, well, Seoul is the same as Busan. Like, that's it? I had come with my father because I was transferring school. Unfortunately, Jimin, like V, also fell victim to a taxi scammer. It might take as little as 15 minutes to get from Express Bus Terminal to the company offices, but it took over half an hour. I had taken a taxi because I wasn't familiar with subway lines, and the fee came out very high. My father had gone down with me to Busan, but the day I went to the dorm, I came to Seoul alone. And that's when I first met J-Hope, who would come out to get me. Are you Mr. Park Jimin? J-Hope still recalls the moment he met Jimin. That's how we first said hello. Jimin? Mr. Park Jimin? Like that. We said hello and talked up all the way to the dorm. I asked him if he danced, and he said, yes, I did popping. And I said, hey, I did street dancing too. I hope we'll be able to help each other. That kind of thing. It was somewhat awkward conversation. It's not easy to imagine a rapper from Hongdae stage and a contemporary dance major who started up as a break dancer making music in the same team. But approximately 8 years later, in early 2020, BTS would combine the elements of both disciplines in Black Swan. This melding of contrasting talents occurs sometimes in the K-pop industry, where idol groups are normally composed of a variety of positions, such as a rapper, dancer, and vocalist. And the members' even more diverse personalities and backgrounds became a touchstone that allows our fans to emotionally immerse themselves in their characters and music, as long as a harmonious team is formed in the first place. A team spearheaded by a group of underground rappers that included a middle schooler who had just started lessons needed more than cohabitation to cohere into a group. They needed some form of alchemy. I was fooled. Jin laughs, thinking about his casting at Big Hit Entertainment in the spring of 2011. What was the worker in charge of signing him had promised him technically hasn't come to fruition. Jin continues, I look at how idols these days go into acting and will let you become an actor eventually. That's how they convinced me. They were very persuasive. Indeed, around that time, it wasn't uncommon for a member of an idol group to be also working as an actor at the same time. While some members specialized in singing and dancing, others were more known for appearing in variety shows or dramas on television, pulling in audiences from outside the idol market. As Korea's idol market expanded with the rise of BTS's popularity and more acts began performing overseas, fewer idols ventured into acting. Jin, for one, became too busy doing stadium tours around the world with BTS, which naturally made him focus on his work as a musician. But many idols, to this day, continue to sing and act in the same time. Jin had entered university as an acting major. His interest in idol music sprung from his curiosity about artistic activities in general. I do like to try different things. I figured I'd be able to have a variety of experience if I was an idol and an actor at the same time. Laughing, he adds, reality had different plans. Until he became a Big Hit Entertainment trainee, Jin had a happy, fairly relaxed upbringing. Jin himself describes his childhood in Gwangju province. I could just go down to the playground and my friends would be hanging out. And if I ever wanted to talk to anybody, I'd just call them up and say, hello, I am such and such. And all the kids in the neighborhood were friends with each other, and our parents would befriend each other as well. Walking down the street, you'll run into someone you'd say hello to every 5 or 10 minutes. Even moving from Gwancheon to Seoul didn't change his life much. Jin's parents once suggested he go to the country and try out the farm life. My parents said, let's try different things to see what you have an aptitude for. And that's what my granddad, grandma, and uncle were farmers. So why not try farming for a bit? That's how I ended up growing strawberries and melons for a month. I did so much pruning for the melons, I didn't want to eat melons for a long time after that. Jin is the oldest member of BTS. When he signed with Big Hit Entertainment, he was 18 and in his first year of university, at the age when most Korean youth begin thinking about what they want to do with their lives. Jin says, since becoming a trainee, I worked hard during practice hours, but I didn't exactly stake my life on it, as they say. A future he had vaguely imagined for himself was to keep training, debut as an idol, and at some point, incorporate acting into his schedule. And so, Jin continued to go back and forth from his home to training sessions at Big Hit. But in the summer of 2012, when he entered dorm life, Jin had no choice but to change his whole lifestyle. By the time he joined the other boys at the dorm, the lineup for BTS had been decided, and that meant the quality and training of Jin's training would change drastically. Jin thinks back to those days. The company did not tell us that we were going to debut, in so many words, but we were almost the only trainees left at the dorm by that point, which made me think, I guess it's going to happen soon. Jin also remembers his first impressions of the dorm. Clothes strewn everywhere, cereal scattered on the floor, the dishes hadn't been done. On January 27, 2013, Jin made a posting to the BTS blog titled How Trainees Usually Make Tteongguk. His ambition had been to make a proper meal that he could share with the other members. For example, Suga would basically just eat to live. He ate chicken breasts for protein, but even eating them was too much of a hassle for him, so he would blend it with some grape juice and a banana and gulp that down straight from the blender. I had a taste of it and thought, nope, this isn't it, and cooked up some things I had sprinkled with hot sauce or steak sauce. Before our staff was hired some months later to help with cooking and cleaning, Jin managed to coordinate the other members into taking turns with chores. As with other people, cooking and cleaning were key activities for Jin in maintaining a semblance of normal life. The problem was, Jin himself had to admit that they were simply getting too busy for normalcy. After about 3 months there, I finally realized why they had come to live the way they did. On days when we had lots of rehearsals, we'd be working 14 hours out of a 24-hour day.